Every Saturday at this park in Brooklyn, about 100 people come to pick up fresh produce. The vegetables are brought in from a small farm about 100 miles north of the city.
It's just so fresh, like the food is picked either the night before or this morning.
But no money changes hands because this is not a farmer's market. It's a CSA, which is short for Community Supported Agriculture. The people have paid in advance for a share of the season's harvest from a small farm.
You come to a distribution point, you pick up your share, which could be 5 radishes, 2 heads of lettuce, 3 pounds of tomatoes, 10 zucchinis, and 10 leaves of Swiss chard for 1 week.
Food contamination scares and a greater awareness about carbon emissions are making people think about where exactly their food comes from. There are now about 2,000 of these farm co-ops nationwide, and the number is growing rapidly. New York City alone has more than 60.
It's been on the rise, but it's been a huge jump in awareness and interest in CSA and small farms in the last really just even year.
Greg Bellows and his wife Miriam organized this CSA last year. They got some neighbors together, then found a willing farmer upstate with the help of a local group that promotes CSAs.
I've never had fresher food in my life. I've lived in a city my whole life. This is my first exposure to really being that close to what I eat.
Usually buying organic food is more expensive, but that's not necessarily the case with CSAs, especially with high gas prices contributing to higher costs for food that's shipped in from hundreds or even thousands of miles away.
Our farm share costs about $400 for the season, which is about 22 weeks. So that works out to about $20 a week, and each person's share is enough food to feed a family about 2 to 3 people. So $20 a week for getting a lot of fresh organic vegetables that's really high quality. I think it's a lot cheaper than what you get in a grocery store. In fact, later in the season we get heirloom tomatoes that you could get at Union Square Market for maybe $3-4 a tomato, and we get like 5 or 6 of them plus 6 or 7 different other things that week.
It's also a good deal for the farmers who get investors to share the risks of farming, plus capital up front for buying things like seeds and equipment.
And that money put up in the spring gave us the money to actually buy a used tractor so that we could get that season together.
The selection members get every week changes throughout the season, which runs from June to October. It can mean less flexibility with cooking, or an opportunity, depending on how you look at it.
You have to adjust maybe your cooking style from the find a recipe and then get the ingredients for it to get the ingredients and then figure out a recipe for it. But works out, people like it.
So they're picking things when they're ripe, and it's not having to travel really far. And so you know that you're getting fresh, ripe tomatoes as opposed to kind of green tomatoes that have been trucked around a lot. It tends to taste really, really good.
I think last year we had maybe 4 weeks where we had garlic scapes, and that creates a lot of creativity in your cooking. There's a lot of discussion, people exchange recipes, which also is part of the community aspect of it.
Indeed, for many members, CSAs are about more than just the food. A big draw is the personal connection they make with the farmers and with the farm itself.
When they truck it in, you meet the farmer, one of the farmers that grows the food, so you know exactly where it's coming from, you can ask questions.
We have several events each year that we encourage members to come up to. A couple of them to help us out and help build community. We'll do our onion transplanting together with members. We have tens of thousands of onion seedlings to transplant, and so it's really great to have lots and lots of hands helping with that project.
Members also get to connect with each other.
It's given me a much bigger sense of being part of my neighborhood and the community.
In October we just have a party. We just have a lot of fun and games and pumpkin picking and pumpkin carving and cooking food and celebrating.
You see them every week, you see the same people, you get to know their kids. In the beginning we start out as strangers, and by the end I would say we're like a community family.